What's up guys, it's me Jeremy. Just before we start, we have a quick message from our sponsor, ggesports.com. On their website, you play as an analyst predicting the outcome of esports matches, but it's not a betting website. You don't use any real money, just their in-game currency, which you can get for free and use to win real prizes like laptops and phones. So definitely check them out and make sure to hit the Join Now button on their tournament page to get started. And I'm also doing a challenge with Brofresco and Red Mercy with them, which I will explain more at the end of the video. Xayah and Rakan started out as nothing more than a duo bot lane concept. The AD carry support dynamic in the bot lane has been pretty unwavering for the vast majority of League's existence, and that opened up the opportunity for Riot to create two champions together. They would obviously have to be functional by themselves, but could work better together with special interactions that would encourage players to pick both champions together. Riot started their duo character development with a mini Thunderdome style event, an event that Riot holds that lets their employees go crazy by forming teams and coming up with their own projects in a quick little 2 or 3 day hackathon kind of thing. And this little mini Thunderdome event that they hosted for Xayah and Rakan specifically was intended to give Riot a chance to test a huge number of different mechanics for the duo characters all at once, and then they could evaluate what worked and what didn't. After seeing the results of the testing, it was time to get started with the traditional design narrative and art of the champions, working from the ground up. Since this time it was two champions released together rather than a single one, Riot tackled it by having a design narrative art process for each champion and one mega process for both champions together, which meant that 3 people would work on each champion, but all 6 people would have a say over the design process for the pair together to make sure that they had appropriate levels of synergy for a dual release. Riot quickly decided to pursue what they called chimeric humanoids as the basis for their duo champions, essentially being human-like but with animal traits, which led to the creation of the Xayah, a world-building effort created to tie new and older champions under a single banner. Although Chimeran was the initial descriptor for Xayah and Rakan, Riot knew fairly early on that they wanted to produce some sort of bird people in the Bakemono style with only one wing each to represent that they were created to be together. The next challenge for Riot was settling on the actual bird species to draw inspiration from, and this definitely started with Rakan. He's described as being beautiful and always wanting to be the center of attention, making him line up quite well with a peacock. Although we don't know exactly how Xayah's appearance was conceptualized, it's likely that Riot ended up with something Raven-esque to tie her into her more serious and broody style of nature. Since these particular Vestians would be from Ionia, Riot opted to use the Ionian colors, but giving Xayah the cooler part of the color wheel and Rakan the warmer side. This meant their appearances made sense from a thematic perspective, whilst also giving them the individual identity necessary for them to exist in-game alone. It's typical for Riot to explore a lot of different themes for newer champions before deciding on what is the perfect fit, but in the case of Xayah and Rakan actually, it seems like they had quite a good idea of what they wanted for that before gameplay development even started. For example, while discovering their appearances and personalities, it was decided that Rakan would initially serve much better as the support champion with Xayah as the AD carry, simply because Rakan was always the one trying to catch your eye, while Xayah wanted to focus on killing you with 1,000 blades. Of course, it's always cool to add in some variety, and it had been a while since Riot had made a female AD carry, so the original design that they chose ended up working out quite nicely, and as a result there wasn't too much change in that department for Xayah and Rakan during their development cycle. With everything being relatively clear-cut from Riot, it's hard to say what Xayah and Rakan could have been in terms of art and narratives, but when it comes to gameplay, there's tons of changes that were made in the design process. For example, part of Xayah's dependence on Rakan came at the sacrifice of her own mobility. She originally used to be much more mobile, almost similar to Lucian, but giving a champion that level of mobility often reduces the need for a support altogether. Since Rakan was meant to have a very mobile identity himself, Riot decided to take Xayah's mobility away in favor of giving her more kiting ability in the form of her ultimate and her roots. This made her much more dependent on Rakan or just her support to survive, whether he was maybe handing out shields, heals, or charming her enemies to peel and give her time to attack. But it also plays off Rakan's ability to get to Xayah from really far away, since Xayah is more effective when kiting backwards because it does set up her root effect. Now, one of the drawbacks to designing champions that are stronger together is making sure they aren't underpowered when they're being played alone or overpowered when being played together. And Riot almost tipped that balance a little bit too far by giving Rakan the ability to drop feathers that Xayah could recall with and interact with her E. Since he's super mobile, it would give some really awesome synergy and allow for some really cool outplays, but Riot Endless Pillows confirmed that it definitely had to be removed during development because Xayah had way too many feathers already. Another one of the very cool potential abilities for Xayah and Rakan was actually a spell that they shared that functioned by charging, likely by holding down the ability button. Charging the ability would affect the spread of missiles, so the particle effect would look like a peacock opening its feathers almost. It was probably removed because it wouldn't really fit on both of their kits. You know, Rakan is a support champion after all, and big area of effect nuke abilities do take up a ton of design space. On paper though, it does sound like a really thematically awesome ability that would have functioned similarly to Heimerdinger's rockets that both champions had the ability to activate and interact with. And if the missiles left feathers at the end of the path, it definitely would have synergized well with Xayah's Blade Caller too, but for maximum effect it would place her a little bit too close to an enemy for comfort, since she would have to be kind of close up to get every feather to hit her enemy on the way back. Either way though, that's actually just about going to wrap up all the information that we uncovered for the development of Xayah and Rakan. Thank you for joining me on this journey and look into the insight of the champion's development. Unlike with other champions, Xayah and Rakan unfortunately didn't have necessarily that much information pertain to them because, well, their development cycle actually went probably one of the smoothest I've ever seen for any champion designed ever, and it seems like Riot didn't necessarily make all that many changes, with the exception of some major stuff with their gameplay. Either way though, thanks for watching the video everybody. I just wanted to take some time here at the end to talk about a little fun thing I've been doing lately with our sponsor, GGEsports.com. Currently I'm competing alongside Red Mercy and Brofresco to see who can win the most on their website. The winner is going to get a bunch of prizes to give away to the viewers, so I'm definitely trying to do my best for you guys. I was able to snag a pretty big lead during Rift Rivals, and I've been kind of coasting on my wins from that ever since. I'm actually currently in first place by about 40,000 gold overall, so I'm definitely doing pretty well. And so now I'm kind of just taking it a little bit easy, playing it safe, you know, just trying to keep my lead, make some minor earnings here and there, do some pretty safe bets and stuff. You can check out the current standings on the GG Esports Facebook page, which I'll link below in the description. And if you go and like and comment on their Facebook post, you can be entered to win $10 worth of gems on their website, which you can redeem for RP or anything you want really. And definitely big thanks to GG Esports for sponsoring our content.